watch sports, they don't go and say, well, George played well on that team and Harry played well on that team. No, it's all competitive. It's this us against them mentality, and it primes people for patriotism and for war mentality also.
Definitely. That's a great point. That's a great point.
You can't outlaw sports, but you can outgrow the need for most of it. What do automobile races prove? Some egocentric person gets in a car and drives it around in circles. Do you know why people go there? Because they say, hey, maybe the guy will lose control of the car. They go there because they go to watch fights and wrestling matches, which we consider good sport today.
Sure.
It'd be considered insane in the future. So you see, what you call right and normal today would be considered aberrant behavior in the future. That's what's wrong with psychology and psychiatrists. They try to adjust you to this system. You have to be some sort of an imbecile to do that. The system is the generator of most of the problems that you have today, are generated by your culture, by the social institutions that are dominant. It doesn't grow out of nothing. People aren't born liars, thieves, bigots, and prejudiced. You learn that in the world you live in.
And it's too bad, even the activists today who want to see change, some of them, they don't know where the problems lie. They try and make this system more ethical and just, but never consider that it's a system that produces that aberrant behavior.
And a lot of people think that human nature is a certain way, and that's the way people are. They're basically greedy. This is not true. All human behavior is learned and based on your environment, unless you're talking about brain damage due to birth defects and things of that sort. That's something else. But you cannot inherit acquired characteristics. In other words, you learn how to become prejudiced, bigoted, and some of the geneticists, being super stupid people also, are looking for the Republican gene. They think there's a social gene. They think there are genes that make you gay. They think that some genes make you creative. No, it's all environment. Eventually you'll find out. You'll notice that most people, when they see their children associating with children that have detrimental patterns of behavior, they take them away from that environment. When you want your children to be a doctor or a lawyer, you put them in a university environment. When you want them to be an engineer, you put them in an engineering environment. Where do you think it comes from? Engineers are not born engineers or mathematicians. They have to learn it. You don't even speak a language of your own. So the language, your facial expressions, the way males behave, the way females behave, is all learned.
And, you know, you can learn how to be smart, or you could learn how to be stupid. It just depends on who you hang around with and what books you read and what television stations you watch or movies you watch.
You can't design the best television set. You can only design the best you can design with what we know up to now. 2 years from now, it'll be different. Does that make sense? The city that I design will be a straitjacket to the kids of the future.
Right.
They'll design their own cities. But if you make a statue of Fresco and put it here, you hold them back. So there are no heroes, no great people in the future, just people that make contributions.
You know, in the past, people would say you'd never be able to get to the moon, not in 1,000 years. And they'd look up the next day and they're going to the moon. You know, when I first met Jacques 25 years ago and he would talk to some people about certain inventions, they'd say, you won't see that, not in 1,000 years. And 10 years later, they come out with it on the cover of Popular Science.
Someone asked me, would everybody be alike in your society? Yes, in certain areas. They will love the earth and take care of it, stick their hands out when they meet another person from a different culture and say, your values are different than mine, I'd like to learn more about your way of thinking. They will be the same in that way. They will be open to new ideas, learn to listen to new ideas, ask relevant questions about ideas. Yes, in those areas they will be alike. Our problems are not political, they're technical. Everything that you have, your washing machine, your electric light, your automobiles, your airplane, are all technical. Without those things, you'd be pulling boats. Slavery. You'd be whipped and beaten into slavery. So technology is on the backs of probably no more than 20 people, gave us everything. The Edisons, Louis Pasteur. If it wasn't him, we'd all be dead. So the real things that you have that work for you are technical. What the Venus Project proposes is a society where everyone will live better than the wealthiest people today. Everyone. Now, is that possible? Let me give you an example. The middle-class American today, or the middle-class person in any advanced society, lives better than kings. They have air conditioning in their car, they have communications in their car, telephones, they fly and fly. Even the Arabs used to think of a magic carpet. The guy sat on the couch and they flew around, they thought that was fantastic. But they never told you when it rained, the carpet got soaked, and everybody got wet, or you had to go to the washroom. What did you do in the magic carpet? Now you have airplanes with television in the airplanes. Even the magic carpet was considered, oh, that's too far out. Nothing's too far out. Anything a person can conceive of can be built.
I keep wondering about how drastic a social change this is and how totally different our world would be. And yeah, how do you get people to accept it? Yeah.
Okay, here's how we do it. Eventually, all decision-making will be transferred to machines. First, people say, well, I don't know that I'd like machines making decisions. First of all, that's what a scale does. You go to a butcher shop, the butcher said the chicken weighs 6 pounds. Since you're buying it, you say, that doesn't look like 6 pounds to me. So you grab it, I think it weighs about 4, because you're tense, so it seems to weigh less. Then the scale came in, and we assigned decision-making to the scale. Is that right?
Yes.
So do pilots. When they fly, I think I'm 1.5 miles high. They look at an instrument, and it tells them they're 4,203 feet off the ground. So that is decision made by a machine, because decision-making by machine is far more accurate. Now the question normal people ask is, yes, but can the machine be smarter than the designer? Well, I know a little guy that designed a machine to pick up a freight train and empty it. Now he can't do that. Machines are always faster than the designer. You ever see a Coke bottle machine move on the line? The designer, he can't move those bottles. So what is happening in our society? We are automating more and more decision-making and assigning it to machines. Picture a Department of Agriculture as a setup of computers with electrical wiring into the soil, like that. So if the water table drops, that pumps water out there. If the nutrients change, it pumps nutrients. You don't need a guy out there saying, Mr. President, we have a drought out here. And the president says, how bad is it? Well, there are 5,000 homeless. In the next 3 days, there'll be 15,000 homeless. So the president says, So he flies over. He says, yes, you do have a drought. So what? When you connect up the country, all the computers, the production, distribution, agriculture, you have a nervous system which maintains dynamic equilibrium in production and distribution of goods and services without money. The government is right above your head there. If you can turn around and see it, it looks like the globe. That globe there makes all the decisions because it's connected. We have satellites around the Earth that project a hologram, a virtual image of the Earth. So you're looking at the real Earth in real time. So you walk over to the image screens and you talk. You say, how many planes are there in the air at this instant? The computer will hit a laser spot all over the world and tell you 7,320. Every plane in the air, every hurricane, all the conditions all over the earth, plant diseases. No human can do that. So we don't need people in government. We need electronics in the field, production, distribution, weather, so we can come at home and find out anything we want to know without opinions based on folksy ways.
When there's a depression or a dip in the economy and a lot of people don't have money to buy things, there are still goods out there. There's still the ability to produce them. There's still the resources. There's still the farms, and people want to work and make things, but they don't have the money. They can't buy things. So there's something terribly wrong out there. We have a great deal of the Earth's population starving and suffering, and the resources are there. Our ability to produce is there. Our ingenuity is there. Yet some people have a lot and others don't have anything. And today that's really shameful with our technology. It's really very, very abusive and absurd, because we have all the technology today to produce abundance all over the world for everyone.
People always ask, how much will it cost to put up these new cities? Do we have the resources to do it? That's the question, not how much does it cost. That's the old question, doing the monetary system. Money is an invention of convenience for purchasing goods and services in a scarcity environment. If there's a scarcity, say, of water, it is prized, and its price is high. If we find an abundant, suddenly the earth opens up, an abundant supply of fresh water fills every ravine, then nobody cares. There's only a policeman in front of something that people have need for and don't have access to. So you put a guard there. But if lemon trees or orange trees and apple trees grew all over the place, you couldn't sell it. Imagine, if you will, if you can, an island of 10,000 people with $10 billion on the island available. No resources, no arable land, no water, no fish. You have nothing. So what is the real value in the future? Resources. Now, in a non-monetary based society, a resource-based society, people have access to anything that they need, somewhat like the public library. They can go down and access a camera or a bicycle or a wristwatch. Anything that they need is available without a price tag. That would mean we must achieve a level of production that's so high that scarcity no longer exists. Many people wonder what would drive people if they have access to all their needs. What would happen to incentive? What will motivate people? Or something gain. What's the gain? Although the gain is that materials are available, what will motivate them on to do better than what they have? Need. We will always lack. And the fact that we will always lack, meaning that we cannot achieve perfection, we cannot achieve truly dynamic equilibrium, we will always be in some form of disequilibrium. With the elimination of scarcity, the essential incentives change toward problem solving in general.